All right, welcome to the inaugural, the first episode of the highly anticipated 214 Sports Show, your home
Yes,
for
sir.
everything North Texas sports. Give yourselves a hand. Let's go. DFW, stand up.
Let's go. The Nucci hat.
Yes, sir. My name is Joseph Duffy. This is.
I'm CJ Krulowitz though. I love all Dallas sports. I can watch the Stars, I can watch the Rangers, I can watch the Cowboys, and I can watch the Mavs. I guess you could call it torture.
I'm Courtney Machani. I love Dallas. Been in Dallas my whole life. I can watch all Dallas sports, but I'm kind of a baseball fan training, so we're getting there eventually. But Cowboys, Mavericks, I can talk it all. So I love to be here, and I'm ready to go.
That's awesome. And about us, we all are, Texas Longhorn students, all in Austin, but we all originate, like TJ said, from the DFW area. Um, Hence the name 214 Sports.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So, fellas, ready to dive into it?
Oh yeah. Let's
Yes,
go.
sir.
All right. This day in DFW history, did you know this was the day that the outlaw John Wesley Hardin was arrested? This is kind of silly, obviously. So the day Wesley Hardin was arrested by the Texas Rangers on a train in Pensacola, Florida. Of course, we know that the Texas Rangers, before coming to Arlington, they were the Washington Senators, chose this name for its historical significance. Pretty interesting little factoid right there. It doesn't really matter as much as I thought. I mean, there's much that happened on August 24th in DFW sports history, but I just thought that was kind of a
Wait,
funny thing.
Pensacola, Florida though. Did the Rangers even have jurisdiction over there?
Right?
That's
They,
what I'm
That's
trying
pretty
to
far
figure out.
drive.
somehow they caught this dude on a train. I looked this up, but of course I only chose this
How long
fact.
ago was this? Were they using horses to get to Florida?
I
That would
believe-
suck, man.
I
Yeah.
believe this was the 1870s. I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, they're
man.
definitely using horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold up.
I mean, at a point, you just gotta realize that person's not for you. Like, just sending it over to the Florida people.
Yeah, if they're in Pensacola, Florida, man,
Yeah.
the expenses probably don't cover all
No,
the
yeah, he's not worth it.
all the trouble trying to get this guy.
Yeah, so this day in DFW history, obviously I only chose that because the history of the Texas Rangers, the baseball club of the MLB, is based off the historic Texas Rangers who actually do law enforcement in the state. So, little factoid there. Moving on toward trivia, I want to ask y'all this question. Let me know your answer. I already posted in our social media. Remember our social media? We have Twitter, also Instagram, TikTok. We'll also be
Yes.
posting this podcast on Spotify and YouTube. If you want to follow us, it'll be our actual account 214 Sports Show. For our trivia, I'm going to ask y'all this question, fellas, and we'll reveal this at the end of the episode. I want to start with this right here. The Dallas Cowboys created their franchise. They were entered into the NFL in the year 1960. We've seen them play now in AT&T Stadium since 2009. But before they played in Texas Stadium, historic Texas Stadium, for nearly 3 decades. So, without further ado, we've seen these past 2 stadiums. What was the original home of the Dallas Cowboys for about their first decade of play in the NFL? Does that sound
So
tricky?
yeah, you have the Irving Stadium, you have Jerry Jones, Death
Mhm.
Star.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't the first stadium the Cotton Bowl? I don't know. I mean,
We'll see.
my guess is Cotton Bowl.
We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
I feel like
see.
they played at some type of college or like some type of historical significant NCAA stadium, but I cannot remember. I'm gonna go with the Cotton Bowl too. Cotton Bowl or like the SMU Stadium or something like that.
We'll see.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's educated take. Educated take. All right, we'll reveal that at the end of the episode. So, moving on now. Cowboys preseason recently just dropped another game in preseason. We saw them originally play against the Jaguars at Jerry's World for the first preseason week 1. And so we had, some things to look forward to in Cowboys preseason. Who's been looking good to y'all? We've also seen some tragic injuries, of course. The former Longhorn DeMar being overshown. Who's looking good to you? Who's on your radar so far?
So for me, I think I'm gonna go with Deuce Vaughn. I think ever since he came into the league already, even college, I've always been loving his game, and I think that he's been looking hungry for the Cowboys. I think that the release of Ezekiel Elliott obviously is going to pose the whole of who's going to be that second person behind Tony Pollard. And I think Deuce is kind of going to take that spot, and I think that's been my like highlight for the Cowboys preseason. Obviously, with Demarion being hurt and everything, the linebackers also have to get a lot more attention now. So I think a lot of linebackers are going to step up in the coming weeks of these preseason. I don't know who I have my eye on yet, obviously, but there's going to be some interesting reps going on in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I I think you can always kind of keep an eye on the rookies. So like Shoemaker, obvious, definitely Shoemaker, just because of the fact like the Cowboys love getting their tight ends in the end zone. I mean,
Yeah.
they do it every year all the time. So I mean, it's kind of like how is he going to be able to replace the the red zone target like Schultz was, and also Deuce Vaughn, of course. Just the overall good story. His dad works in the scouting department, and it's kind of fun to watch him out there play. Everybody wants to see the short man succeed, so I'm with it too. I'm kind of short, so I'll rock with him too. And but I really do want to touch up on Mazzy Smith because
Mhm.
it's not been an impressive preseason so far for him. He's struggled decently. He had the worst PFF grade out of all Cowboys against the Seahawks last week. He's just had problems with his alignment, trying to find kind of just the routes. It's especially been bad against the running routes. There's a video on Twitter that I saw with where there's a difference between Ogi Dizu. I can't say his name still.
Oh,
I'm
Diggy
still
Zua. Yeah.
yeah, and the difference between him and Mozzie Smith, and it was the same O line, same run concept, same alignment, and it was a 20 to 30 yard difference between the gains, and it was so I mean I'm kind of looking at Mozzie Smith right now. It's too early to call him a bust, but it hasn't been it's been a little worrying yet so far.
Yeah, I won't lie. I won't say I will say I've been a tad concerned of his play. I did expect him to be some growing pains when he first got out there. I didn't expect him to be
Right.
like, Aaron Donald when he first got out there.
Yeah.
But I'm loving Deuce Vaughn, of course. He's one of my favorite players last year in college football. I think he had a very good college career at Kansas State. And I did not think he was really going to come to us, really, but I knew he was going to fall far in the draft. But pleasantly surprised that we were able to snag him in the draft. I'm interested to see where they're going to play him. If he's going to get, enough playing time. Because it seems that when he touches the ball, like, magic happens. He makes guys miss. He makes guys, at least go flying the opposite direction. He's shifty. He
He's
knows
getting
how to
touchdowns,
evade
man.
tackles. I mean, you can't complain about that. You got to do what you're just given in front of. And so, when you're that small of a guy, he's learned, how to evade big guys his whole career. And if you're doing that in NFL and already doing it well in preseason, I'm interested to see if they're even going to, not play politics so much and give him, the ball. Because as it stands right now, Ronald Jones, he might be RB3, I think. He suspended as it stands still for the first few games. Rico Dowdle, I'm hearing, is more going to be like RB2 for us. Of course, he's much bigger, but
Hmm.
this is going to be his
Yeah.
first year getting primary snaps here for Dallas. So I'm hearing that Deuce may trade off kickoff and punt return duties with um our other kickoff return. Forgetting his name right
Turpin.
now. Yeah, Turpin. Yeah, the former USFL product.
Well, yeah, he had a fumble in the preseason too. He's fumbling a lot with these returns now.
It's a little worrisome every time I see
Yeah,
that
it's
ball go in the air with him. So
not good. I mean, yeah, we don't have a running back too. I mean, it's gonna be. I think Deuce Vaughn gets his. I don't think he starts off as running back too, but if he can find his way up, I think he can by the end of the year be a solid person in running back rotation, kind of like
If
what Pollard was to Zeke last year,
if
or vice versa.
anything, if anything, we need Deuce Vaughn, to touch the ball. I don't know why he shouldn't at least have, at least kickoff return maybe every now and then, punt return maybe. I don't think
Yeah.
Turbo should have all of those duties, but Deuce Vaughn needs to be in the game having the ball for sure. And if
Yeah,
that means having like, 5 carries a game, I wouldn't mind that either. That could be a little much for now for him, but I want him to touch the ball and at least make something go. So,
yeah. I think I want to talk about also Jordan Lewis and Michael Gallup. I think it's
yeah.
like I really want to look at Jordan Lewis and Michael Gallup just because these are two established guys in like our organization, and we
Hmm.
both had significant upgrades in that position through the offseason with Brendan Cooks and wide receiver and Stephen Gilmore cornerback. So I mean, it's just like they've had injury riddled seasons. They
Yeah.
struggled a little bit. You talk about Michael Gallup with his drops through the last couple years. Jordan Lewis just not. I mean, he doesn't. I think he's been really reliable for us, other than the injuries. But he also is just not somebody that you want to say is your QB, or your not your QB, your CB1 or your CB2, to be honest. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they come out here, kind of to prove themselves. I mean, this is their team. They've been here for the they've been here a real long time. So I mean, are they going to let these new guys take over for them? It's going to be interesting to kind of see. There's some people who can take their spot. There's Bland from last year for the cornerback. He wasn't that good, but he was getting picks. I think he
Getting
had
picks,
5
yeah.
picks
Turnovers.
last
He
year,
was.
and yeah, he was getting turnovers for this team. And you got Jalen Tolbert for the wide receiver. He's third round draft pick 2 years ago. He's got to get some playing time eventually, sometime
Hmm.
soon. I don't know if it's I don't know what their plan is with him yet, but I mean, those two people, they gotta. I think they gotta have a step up this season if they want to stay on this team further than this year.
Yeah, I would say one person that I ain't get touch on that you just mentioned, Tolbert. He definitely like stepped up this preseason way more than I thought he would. I'd say last year was
Hmm.
like just so disappointing. I don't know if he just wasn't getting into the system correctly. I don't know if it was just like the rookie year jitters. I don't know what it was, but he's finally shown his skill set now. And I like you said, I think Michael Gallup should be scared because Jalen's obviously not going to take his spot right now. He's probably going to be number 4 on the depth chart, but he's climbing up those ranks. He had a big game versus Seattle, and I definitely see it to continue. And like you said, like Blanche was going crazy last year. I expect him to continue that with the turnovers because obviously this Cowboy team loves turnovers. So I mean they've been leading the league in turnovers, so they're gonna put boys
Offensively and
out there.
defensively.
Yeah. They're gonna put
Hey,
people out there that
hey,
create turnovers. So yeah, they should both be scared.
man, I love how Cowboys fans are kind of growing on Jalen Tolbert recently, because this last year it was rough for him. They were just tearing this guy up. I understand why when we drafted him from South Alabama, we had this crazy hype for him. Like, oh my God, this dude, he had this great college career. He's going to be putting up all these stats as a rookie. Ends up not even playing a lot.
Yeah,
Hardly
he
even
doesn't
playing.
even have a plan. We put
Man, a
Noah
lot,
Brown
bro.
over him. It's like
Yeah,
Markel Fultz with the
Crazy.
Sixers his first year or something. It's like,
yeah,
man, why are they changing this jump shot up?
yeah. It's like he forgot. It's like we didn't even get the guy we thought we were getting in the draft. And
Hmm.
so I'm glad to see him finally doing well, especially against Seattle. That was a pretty nice game he had. And so I guess I should be saying against the pilot, Brandon Cooks, the man who's flying his little plane now. I don't know if y'all saw that video, but that was pretty
Yeah, with
cool.
Gilmore. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. We just heard that Jerry Jones was not pleased by that so far. I can understand his concern, but he was flying his plane recently. It's very cool to
No
have,
fun league.
yeah, no fun league. It was really cool to have a reliable slot receiver that he's been around the league now from going on a decade now, and he's been passed around for last 3, 4 or so years. But he's one of the most underrated receivers in the game, Brandon Cooks, and I don't know why, but I'm not always remembering that we did sign him, and he's gonna be our primary slot receiver. How do y'all feel about having him now?
I would say Disclaimer: I am actually, as much as I love Dallas and DFW sports, I am a Saints fan. So, Saints are first, but Cowboys always gonna be second. So with
Mm-hmm.
that being said, Brandon Cooks was on our roster. We did draft him all the
Mm-hmm.
way back in, I believe, 2014, 2015, whatever year that was. And I loved him the first few years. He was our number one. Drew loved him, and but over that time, the relationship just soured. He
Mm-hmm.
became more of a diva. You saw that also in New England. The relationship style over there too. I don't know if he went to the Rams after that. He's just been bouncing around a lot of times. I don't know if he's kind of like
think it was.
matured. Yeah, I don't know if he's matured. I don't know if it's gonna be like the same character that has kind of like made him bounce around for all these times. Because I mean, he was doing productive stuff on the Texans, but I mean, he was on the Texans for a reason. Like, there's not a reason why he was on a contending team. So I think this Cowboys opportunity to give him a chance to show like what he wants to do in the NFL, what he wants his mark to be. And I think, especially with CeeDee Lamb right beside him, because I don't think he's ever really had like he did have MT for that one rookie year, but MT was a rookie. Other than that, I don't know if he really had like a big receiver next to him. I guess you could say Cooper Cup as well, but and him are gonna pair well together. And I think they're gonna do good things.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, it's kind of interesting because it's like, how's Dak gonna utilize Brendan Cooks? Like, how is it
Yeah,
gonna work with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup? And it's like, you know, you, I think a lot of what makes him this diva is him not getting the ball really. I mean, the Texans, it was more of the fact that it was just like, it was the Texans.
yeah, it's a
There's
Texans.
really no winning culture there. I had no disrespect. I'm not trying to diss them, but it's just it's facts. And I think there Dak loves certain targets, and there's some people who will only get the ball if it's a certain route. So it's gonna be weird to see how he lines up with Brendan Cooks. I don't know.
Unfortunately, Courtney, I don't know if you remember this, but Brandon Cooks was on that Rams team in the Superdome NFC Championship. Of course, the infamous no
Yeah,
pass interference call right there.
how can I ever forget that? Haunts me every
So,
day.
hey man, don't worry, because the week before he was on the team that beat us. Of course, the team that ran
Yeah,
what nearly 300 rushing yards
with
in the L.A.
CJ
Coliseum.
Anderson.
L.A.
Crazy.
Coliseum. C.J. Anderson, Todd Gurley. We could not stop the run all night. So
I still remember that game. That game was so traumatic. I'll never forget
unreal.
that third and long where Jared Goff was just allowed to
Just
just
took off.
run and finish the game.
Man,
Yeah, he just took off. But we had Jeff Heath in the backfield, and I swear he was moving like 2 miles per hour to catch up to this guy. I was like, man,
yeah. Jeff Heath was
Un
going 2 miles per hour for his whole career there.
he has,
yeah.
man.
Unbelievable game. I do want to finish this segment really with Stephon Gilmore. Obviously the other key signing that we had this season. Big time cornerback core now going for Dallas, and we haven't seen this in a while. Someone arguing at least a decade, but we have some legit corners now in this league. We've had now the All Pro Trayvon Diggs, who was All Pro 2 years ago, led the league in interceptions. But now we have Stephon Gilmore, arguably a Hall of Famer. May not be in his prime anymore like he was with the Patriots, but he can still be a key piece. You're hearing how these Cowboys players in training camp are loving his leadership, loving how he's calling out plays in advance, showing like what's weak on the offensive side of the ball. How are y'all liking Stephon Gilmore this far?
I trust anyone under the Dan Quinn defense, to be honest. I mean, I think there's people who can struggle at times, and yeah, he's aging, but I mean, I have complete trust in Dan Quinn and putting him in, settling him in, and as a QB I keep on saying QB for cornerback, a CB2. I mean, he's been a CB1 his whole life, and it's not like it's a huge change, but I'm not going to underestimate it actually because I've never played cornerback. I don't know if there's a huge difference between one and two, but that's something that we can look at. I mean, switching sides basically, and uh, but I'm excited. I'm excited again. I mean, Anthony Brown's not on the other side of Trayvon Diggs this year for the first time, and it's exciting. I wasn't a big fan of Anthony Brown, and um, having Stephen Gilmore instead of him is a significant upgrade. So I'm happy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say Gilly's definitely a big upgrade over Anthony Brown. I mean, Jordan Lewis, all of them. The whole cornerback core except Trayvon, just a huge upgrade. Obviously, when he won DPOY in 2019, that's about what we're looking at 4 years now. So it's been a long time, but and he bounced around. He's been on the Panthers, he's been on the Colts, and so he's definitely also someone that I guess is trying to prove himself as well. Why did he get traded to both those teams? Why did he go with both of those teams in the first place? And I
Hmm.
think that this season is going to show that because he, like you said, like he's never got to be cornerback too. And so we're finally going to see what he does as cornerback too. He's always going to guard the best man. I mean, they can switch it up. Uh, and obviously, I feel like I don't really know if he's ran a lot of like Dan Quinn type defense before. Um, I know in the Patriots they're running a lot of man coverage. Colts, I'm pretty sure they're also running a lot of man coverage. So I think it's gonna also be new to him. But as you get older, I believe that's also what older cornerbacks like to do. They'll probably appreciate a Dan Quinn type defense anyway. And so I think it's gonna be a very productive year for him. I think Dan Quinn's gonna put him in the right spots. And like you said, I'll never not trust Dan Quinn when it comes to defense. So I think it's gonna be a good year.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing because I these past few years with our corners, we've been seeing teams like hunt certain guys. And so, say like 2 years ago, a Thanksgiving game, we're playing against the Raiders, of course, at AT&T Stadium. We saw Anthony Brown get a few,
Please don't bring it up, man.
pass
So
interference
Jerry
flags.
Jones said, "Throw up football."
And so, like, when you have Stephon Gilmore, a guy who's so fundamental, so fundamentally sound, who is teaching these young guys, what more could you ask for in this signing? I mean, this is just so good for us. It'll help us in the long run. It'll help us, obviously, this season. It's so good to have veteran leadership, especially on the secondary, which we have not had in a while. Our secondary has been young. It has been youthful for a few years now. And so to see a young former defensive player of the year from a Bill Belichick defense come to our team, that's pretty nice for us. So I'm liking that a lot.
But I guess we
Also,
kind of. You go ahead. You go
go
ahead.
no, go. You can finish. You can go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say. I mean, we kind of talked over it. I mean, I mentioned it first, and then Courtney mentioned it. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who disagree about the fact that. Do you think Trayvon Diggs is our number one cornerback over
Yeah, I mean,
Gilmore?
to me, I look at it as like a CB1A and CB1B. That's how I look at it.
That's fair.
I think they're
Yeah.
both able to handle the number one receiver on the team. We'll just see how they do it according to the game because I feel like how they're gonna do it is that they're gonna um assign it based on who's hot right now, who's like
Yeah,
maybe lining up.
be more situational.
Yeah, more situational. I don't
Yeah,
think it's gonna be
Yeah.
like Trayvon's handling wide receiver ones and Gilmore's handling wide receiver twos for like the whole season. They're probably gonna like adjust based on who's hot in the game and basically who's
But
handling what so far. It's
yeah,
like a little testing the
Yeah.
first quarter probably.
yeah, for
Corners are
sure.
very prideful though. So I mean, like
They are.
especially Trayvon. I mean, he might be one of the more prideful ones. So it's gonna be interesting how they handle. I think Gilmore won't really have a problem with it, but I don't know if egos are getting into play. So it'll be like it's like you said, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do it.
All right. Do want to finish by acknowledging again the loss of DeMarvin Overshown, the former Texas Longhorn. Unfortunately, tore his ACL. Was projected to be our fourth linebacker on the depth chart. Very sad to see. So, do want to move on to the Texas Rangers. Recently, lost as of today. We're recording this on Wednesday morning. They've lost 6 straight games. Of course, not finishing that series off, and then getting swept by the Brewers, and then losing in Arizona for the past few days. Recently, Mariners are catching up in the division, and as of Wednesday morning, Houston is half a game back in the AL West. So, what's going wrong for the Rangers right
Tough
now,
times.
man? What is going on?
It's. I mean, this team's kind of resorted back to what they were in May when they were winning a bunch, but it's without the offense. It's like the bullpen is kind of messing up a lot of the games right now. The starters are doing really good, but the offense has like flipped completely. It's awful right now. I'm gonna read some of these stats out. Just for, we're 268 with runners in scoring position for the whole season, and last week right now we're 232, which isn't that bad. It's not a huge drop off. People take bad people have bad streaks. So you have Nate Lowe, who's batted 250 in his last 7 days. Not bad, but it is less than his average. You got 182 for Seager. Mitch Garver's also batting. No, I'm sorry. Marcus Simeon's batting 182. Seager's batting 176 in the last week. And Mitch Garver, who had a good game last night, is also batting 118. Garcia in his last 2 weeks is batting 119. And Tavares in the last month, who almost hit a home run last night, has hit 172. So, I mean, I don't, I know one person can't make a big difference, but it's going to be really helpful to have Josh Young back. I think Jonah Heim's just not even recovered fully. I don't know what's going on with Jonah Heim. He's really struggled. I think he's like 1 for 11, 1 for 12, something like that, coming back from injury, and uh, it's kind of worrying a little bit. Obviously, now that it's just like now we can't wake up and be like we're first in the AL West because technically we are, but we really aren't. The Mariners have a really easy schedule coming up in September. The Rangers have a much more difficult schedule. We're talking about they got the sort of 4 game away series with the Twins, who's a desperate team just trying to make the playoffs right now. It's and then we got a 3 game series against the Astros at home. We got a home and away against the Mariners too, which is going to be huge now. They've came out of nowhere obviously, and we also have a 4 game road series against the Blue Jays. It's just going to be another tough, desperate playoff team. That's really going to have to. That's going to be a really prove it series. And the Mariners just don't really. The Mariners are playing like the A's and stuff all the time. I think they still have 2 series against the A's. They got the Royals, White Sox, all these teams, and it's like, man, come on. You know.
About you, Courtney?
Yeah, I would say, like I said at the start of the show, baseball fan training. So, I'm still getting used to this. It's gonna get rolling by October. We're gonna get to the classic playoff baseball. But from what I see now, I think this is their longest losing streak of the season, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say I think this is what happens when it comes to these young teams. I think they're just losing their way, losing their identity. They started off August as one of the hottest teams in baseball, so it's kind of weird that they just are about to end August as one of the coldest teams in baseball. So I think it just all comes down to a stretch. I mean, they're finally not the favorites to win the AL West, and they're gonna go into the Astros series in early September, and I don't know if I see them win that series. So I think that they need to find their identity now before it's too late. Like you said, the bullpen has been messing up. So I think it just comes down to what decisions do you make for playoff time before you lose that playoff spot in the position. Like you need to start thinking it's the playoffs now. I think that's what they need to do.
It's their
Yeah.
division to lose.
Yep.
Yeah, and I do want to act like, I was surprised that this downfall is coming, but I'm not at all. And I mean, this team has shown sputterings all season. They were capable of doing this all season. Just want to read these home and away splits real quick. This team obviously is the best home team in the American League at 42-24. As of their away record, though, they are 30-30. So they're a 500 team on the road compared to the Orioles who were actually a better road team at 41-24 in the league and then 36-24 at home. How about the Twins? They're 36-26 at home, 29-35 on the road. They're kind of an average team a little bit. They're not. AL Central's kind of weak.
Yeah.
But this Rangers team, they have been struggling on the road all year. We can't act like, they've been as dominant on the road as they have been at home. But I'm not shocked by that at all. I don't want to pin this all on our relievers because they actually have not pitched that bad these past few games. I will say, Aroldis Chapman, Will Smith, supposed to be trading off those setup man and closing roles, struggled in that Arizona series. Aroldis pitched very good overall if you look at the stat line, but he gave up that one run lead in that game 2 nights ago. And so a lot of people are throwing that on Bruce Bochy. I understand why. But you gotta do what you're supposed to do when you're called there. And I mean, what else can you ask for if he got those first few outs in the inning, but he let up that home run. And so with him and Will Smith, I don't trust Will Smith at all in the closing role. I have not trusted him all year in the closing role. I would much rather have Will Smith be a setup guy and then Aroldis be his classic close role because that's what they've been their entire careers. So I know Will Smith started off very good for us, but I mean, look no further than how he did in this that Arizona series. I mean, up 2 runs going the 10th inning, could not hold on to that. I just don't trust him anymore in the closer role. So I'm willing to move on. I hope they can move him more to the setup role and then roll us back to his classic closer role. But I have not been rocking with that all year. So
Yeah, I mean, Aroldis, like, it's just kind of, if he does get beat, it's usually by the walks or the home run. It's not really, and of course, those are kind of two crucial parts of that you don't want to get beat as by a pitcher. And I mean, as far as, I got to give him credit though. In the end, he did give up that 1 run in the bottom of the ninth, but, you could argue that it's like, well, Jordan Montgomery gave us 8 shutout innings. It shouldn't be a tie game, even if Chapman gives up 1 run in the ninth.
exactly, yeah.
So, and to be fair, he got the bottom of the 10th. He got through all of that. I thought it was like he tore out his arm first nine, in the first inning. I thought he was only a 1 inning pitcher just because that's what he does. He throws out his arm and tries to get the people out. Um, and I mean, so he came back in that 10th inning. I was really surprised, and he kept us in the game. He didn't allow a run, extra innings. They get a runner on second base with 0 outs. So it's like, I mean, that was really impressive on his part. On Will Smith on the other side, he's been really struggling recently. I also want to point out the fact that I feel like every single time I've been watching the Rangers recently, they have been the unluckiest team I've ever watched. Just with like all the facts that it feels like some people are turning into Superman whenever they play us. They're just like regular players, and they turn into Hall of Fame players. They make these amazing plays. They go 3 for 5, and they're like, dude, you're batting 212. I mean, and it's like I don't know, and the pitchers recently have been really good, and of course it contributes to the offense. It's just struggling, but we have pitchers who are in the 5.30 ERAs. The Angels pitcher who almost no hit us. He had a 5.27 ERA before that game started, and he's not. It's an he was a rotational player for most of the season. He was playing. It wasn't like, oh, he has a 5.27 ERA because he only has like 2 starts. It's a small sample. No, he had a big sample.
No, and
So,
yeah, Reed Detmers, who you're talking about, the lefty,
mhm.
he actually pitched well against us at the beginning of the year. Not beginning of the year, but I went to the game he actually pitched us originally in Arlington, and he was pitching good the first 4 or so innings, and then he started getting knocked around like we expected to. He's a young pitcher,
Mhm.
so he's starting to get a little bit better, but he was getting knocked around. Towards the fifth and sixth inning, he eventually got knocked out of the game, and Simeon and Seager went back to back for home runs, but that shutout game, I mean, that's kind of been describing what this team has been going through these past few games. So they got to figure it out if they want to make the playoffs, even if they do make the playoffs. Because as it's standing right now, it's very possible this team misses out in the playoffs. The
Yeah.
Mariners and Astros could be 1-2 either way in this division. And if the Blue Jays in the wild card, I mean, they could catch up and be the third wild card team.
Mhm.
We might not
I,
even be in the playoffs.
I think I have faith in this team though. I mean, just looking at, you look at the starting rotation and it's like with our starting rotation, you're going to win games eventually. The offense is going to be dangerous eventually too. This whole season they haven't struggled like this before. It's not going to last, uh, you know, for the whole rest of the season. They're going to get their groove back, I think, and having, Scherzer, Montgomery, Evaldi, and you also have, John Gray who struggled yesterday, but you have all these people in this rotation where it's like by the time you get the playoffs, they're going to be winning you games. They're going to be treating these last regular season games where they're going to be treating it like it's the playoffs.
Mhm.
And I'm ready for September Scherzer. And I think we can get some wins under our belt. Once again, get the confidence back. This is again, Courtney mentioned, young team. The confidence is struck in half right now. So, I mean, just get it. They started back up pretty well last night. They got about 12, 13 hits last night. So it's not like they just got to figure out how to get their feet on home plate again.
Yep. And I don't think they automatically have to win the AL West to even make the series if they happen to make the World Series. Like, there's been so many wild card teams in the past years that have made it ever since it was implemented all the way back
Hmm.
then. How do y'all, I have to ask y'all a question. How do y'all think like the injuries to certain people have like affected this slope? Do you think that like that's a part of the reason why they're on this slope in the first place?
Massively, yeah. I mean, Jonah Heim, I didn't like this originally, but I mean, I think he came back way too early. And so
Yeah.
his injury, I don't think he's really ready, but as a catcher, having that pain, I believe it was his wrist, TJ, was it his wrist?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
yours.
That injury as a catcher is just it can be, painful at times. And I think he was trying to, like not lose his rhythm as being the primary catcher, one of the best catchers in the MLB. That injury has hurt, but Josh Young's injury has hurt us a lot, especially defensively at the hot corner. Ezekiel Duran had 3 errors a few nights ago, and so
Hmm.
seeing that, Duran, he's kind of tumbling off a little bit this season, but he's still playing pretty good ball, and so his defense has been a little suspect at times. He's played as shortstop for us when Seager's was not healthy for first few months. But his injury, of course, Degrom has been gone, but we've still been able to succeed. Nathan Eovaldi's injury, we've been trying to make up for that a little bit for the past few months. That's been hurting us for a little bit. And so Corey Seager, he's had a few sputters with his hand every now and then. We've been having a lot of injuries, albeit
Unlucky.
maybe not as much as Houston, but still some impactful injuries that we've been able to win through. But it's kind of getting exposed these past few games.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna argue though, just be like, I think we talk about these injuries, and I feel like the replacements for these injuries have been really well. Now, I will get the Duran on, replacing Young at third base, but Duran at shortstop with Corey Seager early in the season, he ended up being really big. He ended up almost matching Corey Seager's stats for that month. And you also have Mitch Garver for Jonah Heim. And Mitch Garver's still doing good. Again, I mentioned he's in a really bad slide, but he had a home run last night. He went two, 3 for 5, something like that. He did 2 for 5 because he struck out. Now I remember, in the top of the ninth. Um, and then I mean, and then you got people like Scherzer and Montgomery, and these pitchers, starting pitchers, stepping up for Evaldi and DeGrom. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's kind of just like, I think the replacements have been really well. Except for Durant for Young, I think that one's been a little costly. I don't know if I would say it's because they've lost 6 games. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
more. I think it's more bullpen and just confidence right now. Because I've seen Durant play third before. I've seen him. He just doesn't look natural out there. He looks like he's not. It just looks like this team just doesn't have what they had at the start of the year with their chemistry, their sparks. They used to be able to go on rallies. They're having trouble even getting on rallies now. So, they might get 2 or 3 hits in a row and load up the bases, but then the next 3 hitters strike out. So it's gonna be a tough, that they just got to get their groove back. I don't know how much it's about injuries really.
All right, Joe. Good segment. Moving on to our final segment. Gonna start a little bit about the betting. So, a little bit about lines if you want to talk briefly about. Not gonna talk too much about it, but as it stands right now, let's see if it shifted. It looks as if for the Cowboys' final game against the Raiders in preseason, Raiders favored by 5 points. I know this is not like crazy betting for now, but it's just preseason. Dak's not playing. None of our stars are probably gonna play this game, but Raiders are 5-point favorites in Jerry's world. Very interesting little factoid right there. They've actually been Cowboys been the underdog in all of their preseason games so far. Do y'all even value do y'all look at betting lines like that a lot when it's beginning of the week in NFL? Do you even look at that much?
Not preseason, but I mean, I I knew this question was coming, so yeah, I mean, come on, come on. I'm going over for the Raiders this game. I think, the Cowboys, it's just more of an adjustment game for them. Last game before the regular season. Of course, it's an adjustment game for the Raiders, but they're not the Cowboys, all right? So, I mean, you're looking at, getting Mozzie Smith back on his feet and making sure that he can become a good player for our team, and you're looking at the practice squad players. So it's not going to be a serious game. It's going to be a lot of Will Greer at quarterback, and I wish I could say Ben DiNucci at quarterback. I miss the guy. Maybe he could come back, take Will Greer's spot. He has a third string quarterback. I don't expect him to do much, but he's not must watch TV. Unlike the GOAT Ben DiNucci. I'm gonna stop talking about him though. I'm getting sidetracked, but yeah, I think it's an adjustment game. Raiders come out. They come out firing. They're gonna get up early, and the Cowboys are just gonna keep running the ball and just find them. Yeah, so that's what I say.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the over on this game. I mean, the Raiders have been doing pretty good this preseason. In terms of betting lines, I mean, I'm not really ever gonna put my money on third stringers ever in my lifetime. So it's like preseason betting lines are so useless to me. But the Raiders QB Aiden O'Connell, he's really been cooking. So I think he's probably gonna cook on this Cowboys defense of these third stringers. But like TJ touched on, I don't really think the Cowboys are really gonna take this too serious. I feel like a lot of times in these preseason games, a lot of these like contenders, like that have been there before, you really don't really pay attention to them a lot because you already feel like there's no like competition really going on. There is a competition in those few spots that the Cowboys are gonna get figured out. But like you said, like this is more really for getting the rookie reps and just working on that more. But it's not gonna be a serious game at all.
Yeah, man, like my final 2 cents on Cowboys, really. I really want us, I don't know why more people are not talking about this, but I want us to sign the old man, Robbie Gold. After, how Brett
Really?
Maher, after
Yeah,
how Brett Maher
I'm all
ended the
for it.
I can
season,
see that. I can see that.
I really want us to sign Robbie Gold. A reliable kicker. Obviously, he doesn't have the leg strength like he used to, but, under 45 yards, he almost has that lock. And I cannot believe he's sitting at home right now as a free agent. He had a pretty nice year. Not amazing, but a nice year for the Niners last year. So I hope the Cowboys will pick him up before the start of the season. Not looking like that so far. Go ahead.
I want Dan Bailey back, man. I miss him. I
I
still
miss him.
remember his the opposite of legacy game for him against the Seahawks that year, where it's like
Oh
we
my
gotta
God.
win or we missed the playoffs, and he missed like four, 30
Prime,
yarders.
Prime Dan Bailey was different. Prime Dan Bailey was different.
Different.
He was
One of the best
competing with
kickers I've
Justin
seen.
Tucker.
Literally, I was about to say this. He was like literally like I think he had like the record for like the most accurate kicker like before he
Crazy.
started.
Yeah, he was going. Yeah, he was the Justin Tucker before Justin Tucker came in and
Yeah.
took the title of Justin Tucker.
Sad to see him kind of get a little forgotten recently.
For a reason, he started sticking it up. So
Yeah,
he
man.
did.
it is what it is.
So,
That play goes perfect with Minnesota though. So
answering trivia. I did ask you. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys formed in 1960. The first year was in 1960. Of course, they played in the 18 Stadium since 09. AT&T Stadium since 09. Of course, in Texas Stadium for multiple decades. But I asked you what was their original home. Actually, y'all got that correct. It was indeed the legendary Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl.
there we go.
Give yourselves a hand.
Got you.
I
Y'all got the
knew.
first trivia answer right.
I knew.
It was
Right
indeed
there.
the Cotton Bowl. So good on y'all. For the last segment, got
Home
some
of
rapid
Tom
fire.
Landry.
Yeah, home of Tom
Yep.
Landry.
That's true.
And of course, the Great Cotton Bowl game, which of course got moved to Jerry's World these past few years. Kind of hate to see that, but only seeing this game really for a unique
AT&T
HBCU.
Stadium get every game they want.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean,
Anything.
If they want that one, they're getting it.
Too much
Always gonna be
bargaining
first
power.
on the list.
So
Yeah,
but
so
I'm glad I got that trivia question right. 1 for 1. Let's go,
I
man.
was not
Let's
expecting
go.
y'all to
We're
get
both
that
one
right,
for
bro.
one.
I was
I knew
expecting
it
a
was
little.
some college. I just had to ride in the coattails. I ain't gonna lie. I knew it was a college stadium, one of them, but I
It's
just
always
couldn't think of it.
college in like the 60s, man.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
all just trying to it was like all the teams were like homeless or something. They were all trying to find like like it's just like one place to stay just for 1 year, man, just for 1 year, like.
If y'all seen how many Super Bowls used to have happen in Tulane Stadium, y'all would be shocked, bro. Tulane
Oh,
Stadium back in the day was the
Tulane,
place. That was the place.
Rose Bowl. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, bro, if I want to see a stadium in my life, it's Tulane Stadium, man. The history there is insane, man. I love Tulane Stadium. It's better than the Rose Bowl.
I think that one's broken down, and I think they tore that one down, so they got a new stadium in Tulane now. But that one had like at least 3, 4 Super Bowls.
It's like
Crazy.
tearing down
Never,
the
never
Kansas
knew that.
basketball stadium. Come on. Unbelievable.
Louisiana really loves their Super Bowls. I can tell you that for sure. They get them
Yeah,
all. They get a lot of them.
yeah. Any game really in the
True.
Superdome down there. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gonna be a good game. Always a loud atmosphere. So, for our final segment, we're gonna do some rapid fire questions. I want to start with this, and we touched with this earlier a little bit, kind of. But who should be RB2 and RB3 in the Dallas Cowboys? Out of Rico Dowdle, of course, Deuce Vaughn, and Ronald Jones. They'd be backing up Tony Pollard, who's obviously going to be RB1. But who would you like in the RB2 and RB3 positions out of those three guys?
Yeah,
Rico
like I
Dowdle.
said earlier, I think Deuce Vaughn is gonna be RB2. I think they see the potential, and even if they don't see the potential, hopefully nepotism comes into play, and he gets to play anyway. So, I think he's gonna be
True.
RB2, and like you said, Ronald Jones. How long is he suspended?
I believe 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
He's
he's gonna come
protesting,
back
though.
and he's probably not gonna get it. They never really reverse those, but I think he's gonna come back just because of his veteran presence and his leadership. I think Rico Dowdle has a little bit kind of has to take the back seat, or they might play it safe and make him RB2. But I think Ronald Jones is gonna take out of the RB3 spot, or if they really want to play it safe, the RB2 spot. So that's what I think I'm gonna go.
I think Deuce Vaughn becomes the RB2. I know I kind of contradict myself because I said I was going to say that he doesn't start off the season as RB2, but I think the Cowboys think he's going to start off as RB2 because I think, it's just the Cowboys have no reluctance of playing the rookies over the veteran leadership or the people that have been there longer. That's what always happens. They, talk about Dak Prescott over Tony Romo. They made that
Yeah,
switch so easily.
so quick.
So, I mean, it's I think it is Deuce Vaughn with Ronald McCoy or not Ronald McCoy, Ronald Jones being injured and Rico Dowdle just not being some guy you see in the headlines at all. So yeah, I'm gonna go Deuce Vaughn.
I should have also mentioned Malik Davis. He hasn't had a bad you know, preseason thus far.
Yeah,
But
he hasn't been bad.
I
Nah,
don't know if they can carry all these guys in the roster though. I don't know if they can. I mean, it'd be Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn, and Ronald Jones. 5 RBs, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna carry 4 at most.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I
They
think
already
my
got
RB.
like
it'll
yeah, they
probably
already
be
got
Malik
like four
Davis that's gone. So
tight ends on the roster too. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna do RB2 for now, probably Dowdle, and I'd hope they put Vaughn at possibly RB3. I don't know if it's gonna start like that. We'll see how it goes. Moving on to the next question, who we think is gonna be top 2 in the AL West? We already talked about this a little bit so far. Rangers, Astros, and Mariners. Who are gonna be the top 2?
I'm gonna hold on to the Rangers for now as number one. Again, I think they have a tough schedule. The Astros have a tough schedule too for September. And are the Mariners really gonna keep it up? Like are you sure they're not gonna collapse? I mean, historically speaking, that's what the Mariners do
that's what they
best.
do. So,
So I mean, and the Rangers don't really have a lot of room to talk about that either. But I mean, again, it comes down to the starting rotation. I have so much faith in the starting rotation to get us through these games, to win us some of these games, even when our offense is struggling. And that's something that not many teams have. I think the Astros are going to be right up there. I think they're going to be second. I think there's going to be, I don't. it doesn't matter how many games the Astros or Mariners, get up on us. I think right now, I think the Mariners, back home and away series against them. I think we beat them. I think we're the better team by far. We have the better starting pitching. We have the better hitting. We have, bullpen's a little different, but you know, I'm just saying, Josh Jones could be back for that series too. So Rangers Astros. I know I'm not really going that rapid right now. So
About you,
Yeah,
Courtney?
I'm gonna go. As much as I really would want the Rangers to be number one, I feel like just the Astros is gonna kind of creep up there. I think right now they are the favorites by the betting lines. I I might stay away. It's gonna be close though. This series that's gonna happen in September is really gonna like show pretty much everything we need to know. Like TJ touched on, I don't see the Mariners really touching both those teams to be honest. So I think it's gonna be Astros one and then Rangers two.
Gonna have to agree with you, Courtney. I mean, this Rangers team has been kind of taking the downward spiral. Astros have been on our back the entire season. It seems every time we win, they win, and when we lose, they
Yep.
lose. So they've been in our back the whole year. I'm gonna have to say Astros are probably gonna edge us. I think the Rangers can get possibly the second wild card, but I'm gonna have to go Angel Astros and then Rangers.
trying to keep my optimism up, man. I've seen too many 6-game losing
Hey,
streaks these
man.
past few years, man. I think this year's different, bro.
I knew it was coming, bro. I mean, it was bound to happen at some point. It's just how Rangers baseball is. So,
It
all
is.
right,
Sure.
we are creeping up there in time. Fellas, want to tell me your socials real quick for the crowd? Where they can follow you?
Obviously. Instagram, you got tj.krulowitz. If you can spell Krulowitz, I'm a little proud of you. You can follow me on Twitter. That is also tj.krulowitz. We'll have all the links in the description, though, so y'all don't have to really spell it out. You can just click the link.
Mhm.
See
Sir,
that?
Instagram at C Lives a Life if you can spell that. I don't really feel like spelling it right now, but it will be in the description. C Lives a Life. My Instagram. That's my Instagram. My Twitter is gonna be C underscore Machani as well. It's gonna be in the links. And go ahead, Joe.
All right, I got Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me at Joseph Duffy underscore 99, Joseph Duffy underscore 99, and of course, like and subscribe for this on YouTube.
Wait, what's with the
Follow us.
99? Was that your football number?
Yeah, that's my football number.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't let it go. I just got
All right,
attached to
JJ Watt.
that. Hey, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was the
Okay,
reason, not
okay,
JJ
okay.
Watt. I used to roll up my sleeves like Aaron Donald too. But Joseph Duffy 99. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Follow this channel on Twitter and YouTube, and also on Spotify. Should be at 214 Sports Show. Fellas, that's an episode in the books right there.
That's
Great
We did
first
it.
episode.
We finally got it up.
amazing.
Let's do
thank
it.
you for anyone watching.
Let's keep
This
this
was
train
great.
going. Like and subscribe. Share with anybody you know. We thank y'all for watching. See y'all next time. Thank you.